Hello everyone, my name is Shuning Su. I am the community manager of Threat Modeling Connect. If you're new to Threat Modeling Connect, we are an open global community dedicated to threat modeling. On behalf of our community, I am super excited to welcome all of you to join us at our second annual Threat Modeling Hackathon. We launched the hackathon last spring as we believe the best place to learn threat modeling is to threat model with a bunch of threat modelers, is to threat model in the community. And we're excited to see a couple of familiar faces returning from last year's hackathon. Some of you even step up and take on various roles. You volunteer to mentor, volunteer to improve our prompts, and volunteer to become judges as well. So can't wait to see all of you and what the exciting things that have in store for all of us over the next 3 weeks. So to kick off the hackathon, I wanted to remind all of us the hackathon spirit. It's like a marathon. We may come here for different reasons. Some of us are here to compete, others are to learn new things, to meet new people, or to have fun. And whatever that is, let's not forget that we're all here to grow. We're all here to become a better threat modeler than when we first started the hackathon. So whether you are a seasoned threat modeler or you were just getting started, this hackathon is the perfect opportunity for all of us to come together, to share and to test ideas and to push boundaries for what is possible. So with that, I wanted to invite all of you to make a promise to yourself. In the next 3 weeks, you will make the efforts to learn new things, to contribute to your team, and to have a lot of fun in doing all of that. All right, so what we'll cover today in the opening ceremony, in just a few seconds, we'll hear from Adam Shostack, who will talk us about threat modeling in the age of AI, since the theme of the hackathon this year is about threat modeling and AI. And we'll do a quick hacker orientation, and we'll hear a few words from the judges. And then we'll have about 10 minutes where we'll send all of you into your respective team breakout room for you to meet each other. We'll take about 10 minutes break, and then we will head over to the workshop. The workshop will take place in a different Zoom meeting. The link will be shared in the chat later. So without further ado, let me introduce Adam Shostack. All of us should know Adam Shostack unless you won't be here. But yeah, we'll be super thrilled to have Adam talk and share on what threat modeling is, especially in the age of AI. All right, Adam, do you want to take it away? I will stop sharing.
Yeah. Can you? All right. It is, as I play with the technology, a theme we'll talk about. It is great to see so many of you here. We've got 78 folks who are joining us live, and that's just really tremendously exciting watching the growth and evolution of this field and seeing so many people wanting to engage in this hackathon is tremendous. And like many of you, I have been really thinking a lot about what AI means for threat modeling. It's the theme for this year, and so I want to just dive into some thoughts on what it means. And many of you will know who I am. I want to mention, if you have not seen our latest product launch yesterday, we released Magic Security Dust. You can see it on our website, and don't miss the video. We've got some fun cameos. If you didn't watch the video, you should, but after this, not during. So I want to think about, I want to put threat modeling at a place in time, because as I was thinking about what to say, I realized that Stride is now a full 25 years old, which some people think means it's old and creaky. I think it means it can rent a car and even drive it itself. Um, and over the last 25 years, we've seen a bunch of advancements, and in 2024, the thing that I really want to draw attention to is how much the field has matured. We see competition between commercial vendors. We see many important community spaces, including Threat Modeling Connect. When I look at the last OWASP AppSec in Dublin, threat modeling was one of the biggest themes of the conference. We had so many good threat modeling talks, and I think that's really an exciting inflection point. And of course, we've got Threat ModCon twice this year, because there is pent up demand. And so, again, I think it's an exciting time to be in the field. I'm excited to see 16 competing teams. I'm excited to see what comes out of the hackathon. And last year, there was great participation. And I will say, I was a judge last year. Judging was really hard. There was a lot of good work being done. And I don't envy my colleagues who are judging. I'm actually going to be taking some time off while the judging is happening, so I got to dodge that hard work this year. And I think that the I'm blanking on the word, but the philosophy that Shuning put up, that different people are coming into this with different goals, is so important. And I encourage you to think of learning and collaborating and meeting others as a primary goal. And and I'm sure that the judges this year are going to have a hard time picking a single winner. So with that, let me talk about threat modeling AI. And when I think about threat modeling and I think about four important scenarios. I think about AI for offense. This is the write me a phishing email sorts of things, um, that are quite concerning. There's AI for defense, and I put anti-spam in there very intentionally because I think all of the challenges that we have with AI are magnified when we try and use it for defense. I think about AI for business, which is really where I'm going to focus, and AI for software development just a little bit. And so when I think about this from a you are here perspective, I'm thinking first about AI for business, because I think all of us are challenged with a combination of our executives, our product managers are saying, what can AI do for us? And all of us are also challenged with, oh my gosh, they're ruining my favorite products by inserting AI into them. And figuring out what we're going to do. How do we think about AI in the context of business is a place where threat modeling can really help us. And so I think about this in the sense of, what are we working on when we're working with AI, when we're adding an LLM to our business. And there's some great work out of CISA, which helps us answer the question of what are we working on with AI. And I'm going to show you three of their models that they've generated, which I think are generally useful. And we can ask what can go wrong with each of those models. We can threat model each of those models. And so CISA has shown how to use model building and validation as we go from an untrained model with data collection and raw data all the way to outputting a trained model. And we can ask what can go wrong at each of these stages. We can think about model deployment, and if you were on social media this weekend, you may have noticed some issues with deployment pipelines and backdoors and issues with dependency chains and backdoors. So thinking about our deployment pipelines is important. Last but not least, thinking about the operational environment is important. And all of these are part of what are we working on when we're working with AI. And I want to emphasize the importance of training data in thinking about what can go wrong. Understanding where your training data is coming from is absolutely crucial to understanding what can go wrong. Is it pre-selected and curated? Pre-selected and curated by whom? What were their criteria? Are we training on live internet data, which is a mistake that people somehow continue to make, is taking unfiltered data from the internet? Are we training it on customer data in various ways? And this is so important to so many companies who are concerned about their sensitive data, who are concerned about their trade secrets, who are concerned about where those things are going to go, because we've all seen AI memorizing its data and then spitting it out again later. Thinking about these in terms of training, in terms of where are these adapted results visible, all of these are things where the answer to what are we working on and how are we arranging our pieces influence the answers to what can go wrong. And so there are a lot of different sets of people's answering the question of what can go wrong with AI. And I've selected 4.5 of these to talk about today because I think they are useful. I think they can inform what your teams do. And I want to say you won't go wrong with any of these, but what I want to say more than that is one of the things that I think about when I'm helping people learn to threat model is first developing a specific skill, something like how do I use Stride to help me answer the question, what can go wrong? And then as people develop skill with that, sharing a second method and a third method, and getting them to compare and contrast between them develops the skill of analysis, develops the ability to say, this is the technique I want to use in this situation, and working with your teammates, working with the community in this hackathon gives you a chance to develop that skill, to develop these additional ways of thinking about the problem, and that's a mark of a mature threat modeler. So I'm going to go through each of these. Before I do, I want to mention that the traditional threats that we see using Stride, using kill chain, those don't go away in the age of AI, but they're augmented. So let's dive into these. So the OWASP has a top 10 for LLM applications, and it's a community effort. It's got a lot of detail behind it, which is useful. And you can see this at LLM top 10. You can see this on the OWASP Slack. And the thing that I noticed when I looked at this is a number of these are, insecure output handling, sensitive information disclosure, plugin design, denial of service. These are, in my mind, so close to traditional threats that I had proposed a top 10, and I included hallucination, inexplicability, hard to say early in the morning, bias, and then I piled in all of the traditional ones under insecure development and deployment. And I think this is useful because this ties to some real problems that we see when we're deploying LLMs. And so I wanted to share it as a model that you can use. You won't get extra points with the judges because I'm not a judge, but you can use it to help you think about what's going on. There's also work from the Berryville Institute of Machine Learning, and this is less well known than OWASP, but I like it because it's a small group of opinionated experts, and I mean that in the best of ways. I mean that in the sense that they have a perspective on what they think you should do that is strongly held. And they've expressed this in both architectural risk analysis for generic machine learning and a month or so ago in an architectural risk analysis for large language models. And this is a really useful, both of those are going to be useful guides for you as you think about what can go wrong in the hackathon. Microsoft has a set of lists of threats. And look, as some of you will know, I worked at Microsoft for a decade. I was involved in releasing things like this. And I wish Microsoft was spending more time deconflicting and explaining the evolution of their guidance. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there and say that I would focus on other things before I focus on Microsoft's guidance today. The last thing I want to mention is Emily Bender, who's a professor at the University of Washington, has been thinking a lot about what goes wrong with LLMs at a societal level. And she has this lovely de-jargoning approach where she has replaced the phrase AI and machine learning with the word automation. And so she asks, what's being automated? Who's automating it and why? Who benefits? Who's being harmed? Who's accountable? And I think these are really interesting questions, as is the last one. What existing regulations already apply? We're seeing, especially in the European, not especially, but we're seeing in the European Union, an attempt to create regulation which is AI specific, which I think is fascinating. And I think that Professor Bender's question of what laws already apply to the thing being done, you don't evade the law by saying, an LLM made me do it. You're still responsible and you should still be accountable for the choices that your organization is making. And so, here we are. And so, actually, those approaches of the OWASP top 10, Adam's top 10, the Berryville list, Emily Bender's list, give you lenses through which you can look at the systems that you're going to be threat modeling over the next 3 weeks. And I think the winning teams are going to have a mix of those. They're going to have some stride and kill chain sorts of threats. They're going to be multifaceted in the approach that they bring to bear in answering the questions in the hackathon prompt. And so here we are at the kickoff. You're gonna meet your mentors soon. You're going to get a chance to engage in the threat modeling kata soon. And I'm excited to be seeing what's happening. And as some of you may be aware, one of the things that we're going to do is I'm going to get a chance to meet the winners. We're going to have a little game session. It's going to be loads of fun. And so with that, I want to say thank you. I want to turn it back over to Shuning. And do we have time for questions for me, or are we going to move along?
Yeah, we have about 2 minutes. I guess 1 or 2 questions. If you have a question, feel free to use the reaction button and just raise your hand. We'll probably have question. We'll probably have time for just one question. Otherwise, all the questions, of course, we'll post them to Slack.
Yep, the slides will be there.
Yeah, we see one raised hand. One hand shuffle.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Adam. Nice to hear you again. And yeah, I have a short question only because you mentioned 4 approaches, and I was just asking or thinking of if you also had any touch points with Mitre Atlas to use to conduct any threat modeling for AI systems.
No, only because I haven't had a chance to really dig into it in any meaningful way.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, there's and it's a great question, Wilhelm. Great to see you.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many approaches being proposed that I think one of the most useful things we can do is pick some and use them, because otherwise you'll spend your entire life reading papers on archive that have yet another categorization of what's happening. I see you've tried to keep up.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So yeah, for other questions, please post them to the Slack. Thank you. All right, so come back. Thank you again, Adam. All right, so hacker orientation. Just a few things to keep in mind. All the things I am going to share here, they are available in the Hacker's Guide, the Hackathon Guide, which is available on threatmodelingconnect.com/p/hackathon. But just to highlight a few things here, for schedule-wise, the prompts have been announced yesterday on the threatmodelingconnect.com. If you haven't get a chance to take a look after this. We're at the kickoff today, and for the first week of the hackathon, from yesterday till next Monday, you should have one meeting with your mentor that has been already pre-scheduled for you. Please work with your mentors for rescheduling if there's a need for rescheduling. And from now on, for the next 3 weeks, work on your threat model. The submission deadline is on April 21st. And we'll announce the winner, we'll celebrate together, we'll hear feedback from judges and mentors, and see each other again at the closing ceremony on May 2nd. So very quick things to get you started, 3 things to do if you haven't done them already. Very, very important. Please join our Slack workspace. I think 80-90% of us are there already. If you haven't already, please join our Slack, because that's where we will communicate. That's probably what your teammates, your team captains will use to communicate with you as well. And get the hackathon guide on threatmodelingconnect.com/p/hackathon. Bookmark the hackathon page as well, because this is where we have posted the prompts and share the resources. We even share the top submissions from last year for your reference. And that's the page where we will share the recording of this session and the threat modeling kata workshop later. Regarding the prompts, just a couple of things to be aware of. check out the prompts on threatmodelingconnect.com. And if as you walk through the prompts, you think about the prompts, feel free to capture your assumption if there's anything that seems unclear to you. And of course, if you want some clarification in order to move on, you can always post them in the Slack channel. We have a dedicated channel, prompts questions, for you to get your questions answered or clarified regarding the prompt. Please be aware that no automated threat modeling tools are allowed. Areas risk is not allowed, so along with other commercial threat modeling tool. Diagramming tools are okay, threat libraries are okay. There are two parts in the deliverable. There's a threat model document and there's a reflection. The reflection is just as important as the threat model. So please be sure to include both parts in your final deliverable. As far as mentorship goes, we're very excited and very proud to bring up a lineup of very, very fantastic Austin threat modelers to become our mentors this year, who are not just top threat modelers in the industry, but also they are threat modelers with a coach's heart. So as I mentioned earlier, each team will have one allocated 30 minutes meeting with your mentor. Outside of that, they'll continue to support you through Slack. We just ask that you be respectful for your mentor's time, as most mentors are supporting more than one team. They're also juggling their day jobs as well. So discuss with your mentors to understand their response time and be respectful of that. And let's not forget that your mentors are here not only to help you navigate through the hackathon, but they're also here to help you grow as a threat modelers. So we encourage you to discuss with your mentor not just about the prompt itself, but also tell your mentor what you want to get out of this experience, what skills you want to learn, and how they can help you in achieving those goals. I want to take a moment to recognize our 17 mentors who are great threat modelers in the industry and who have this passion to support, to guide a next generation of threat modelers. So we'll go through here. It's really, really amazing to see how the community comes together to help each other grow. Thank you to our mentors for your contribution. On the prizes front, it won't be a fun hackathon without some amazing prize, right? So we are excited to up our game from the prizes perspective from last year. So the winning team, each qualifying member on the winning team will receive a $500 Amazon gift card, a shiny exclusive hackathon champion badge, and a ticket to the Elevation of Privilege game. It's a private session hosted by Adam Shostack himself. In order to be qualified on the winning team, you have to demonstrate some commitment and contribution to the team. In the submission, there's more to read on in the submission guideline regarding the qualifying members. And in addition to the prizes for the winning team, we're also running a share and win campaign. We encourage you to share your stories, your snapshots, or whatever that highlights your team's pride, either through social media or on the our Slack workspace in the Team Spirit channel. We'll select 3 winners for a special prize that will be announced on the closing ceremony. And here's the kicker. Showing evidence of collaboration not only gives you a chance to win a special prize, but it actually wins your team bonus points on your grading rubric, as you probably have seen it already in the judging plan in the hackathon guide. So that concludes the orientation. Everything that's been shared above can be found on Hackathon Guide. And if you have further questions regarding how Hackathon supports, use it as our organizers channel. If you have questions related to the prompts, please use the prompts questions channels. Watch the announcement channel for updates, recordings, and event reminders. All right, so without further ado, let me introduce you to our amazing judging panel this year. We have Dr. Kim Witt, Bruce Schoenfield, Robert Hobart, and Avi Dolan joining us as judges for this year's hackathon. And we have the privilege to have the judges to share a few words with us. And I believe Brooke will represent the panel to share a few words with the participants.
I'll be happy to. I think I was voluntold, so that's always good. It's such a privilege and honor to see last year, as Adam said, it was really hard because judging between how much does this way where a team really went deep and yet they missed maybe their reflection, or it was very lightweight against a team that didn't quite go so deep in threats, but went deep in reflection. You know, it was very hard, I'll just tell you. So I'm girding myself for yet another walk into this. It's and it's a marathon because we get a week to do it. But I'm looking forward to it as well. Believe me, as a judge, I learn a lot as well. So it's always enlightening to see how people approach the problem and what they think is important and what they don't. I do want to stress what Shunning said. Don't forget your reflection. We really do grade on we try for real fairness, deep fairness. And because of that, we want to grade on the criteria we've developed through the last hackathon, and we will be using that again, which I believe is open to everybody, right? And people can see what we're judging on, and we really do look and say, well, this team went down stride, but they didn't develop them, while this other team didn't use stride, didn't use any method, but they went really deep and really understood not just the threat, but the attack surface where it would apply, where you know, how it would affect, what are all the impacts. You know, really, we're really looking at your threat models and trying to see whose threat model, which team's threat model best represents the totality and holisticness of threat modeling. So I'm really looking forward to working with my friends. I have to say, all the judges happen to be very, very close friends of mine. So that's the fun part of this, is that we all get to hang out and talk about your threat models. And I'm sure it will be amazing because the other judges, each of them is a profound pillar in threat modeling, who I deeply respect and enjoy hanging out with, as well as threat modeling with. So yeah. Anything anybody wants to add? Kim, Avi, Robert?
I think you covered everything. I'm gonna take my role as privacy threat modeling advocate here and highlight once more that don't limit yourself to the stride or whatever security mindset, but go beyond. I think Adam's keynote highlighted that too, that the top 10 AI threats are more than confidentiality, integrity, and availability threats. It goes far beyond. So make sure you have a wide enough scope and cover all those aspects too.
Oh, thank you for reminding
and
me.
enjoy.
Yeah, I didn't mention privacy, but you know, when I'm writing about threat modeling now, I say privacy and security, because we really need to address everything. Anything else? If not, I'll move back to you, Shuning.
Thank you, Brooke, and thank you, Kim. So that's I think that concludes our opening ceremony before I send all of you to meet with your teams. So remember the promise that you make to yourself at the beginning, where you're here to learn, to grow, to contribute to your team, and to have a lot of fun. Good luck, everyone. Oh, our group photo. Yes, we're going to take an epic group photo.